I wanted to talk for a few minutes about basically working in tech and the impact that it has on a person physically. I come from a family that tends to be pretty fat, and most of us have been pretty or extremely athletic in our younger years, and eventually put on weight. And I kind of stood out in my own family because I managed to put that off for a really long time. Probably the lowest adult weight that I ever had was about 145, and that was when I was working as a cook and running Green Lake every day, which is about a 3-mile run. And I was standing on my feet all day and then going and burning like 500 or 600 calories just doing the run. And I didn't really do anything in particular with my diet, but I lost like 15 pounds just by adding the run in. And later on, I went to college, and weight started to creep on, although I still had a lot more time to be active. The University of Washington has a great athletic center, and I tried to make the most use of it that I could. By the time I finished grad school, I was about 27, and I think my weight had crept up to about 160 pounds. And then I got a job at Lockheed Martin Astronautics, working on the Mars Surveyor program as a software developer. And I moved to Colorado, and I worked a lot, and worked at a desk sitting down for 10 to 12 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week. There was just a lot to do. We were working on 3 different spacecraft at the same time. And I kind of figured it was my age. I was kind of creeping up towards 30 years old. But by the time I left Lockheed, I was struggling to keep my weight at 175 pounds. And then I moved to Seattle, and during the dot-com boom, I was still working a lot. During the dot-com crash, I was working a lot. And then eventually I decided to go into business for myself. We also had some kids, and family responsibilities took over a lot. And so I basically had time for work and then time for home. And when I got home, I was expected to be with my family. And so from there, my weight really just ballooned to the point where I went into the doc for a physical, and I was 200 pounds. And the doc was like, "How do you feel about that?" I was like, "I don't feel very good." And then it eventually kind of hit like a peak of like 220. And for somebody who's 5'7", that is immense. And I'm too small to carry that kind of weight. I know plenty of people who are really big, like tall, and broad-shouldered and that kind of thing, and that's like where they'd like to get down to. But for somebody like me, it's really obese. So, one of the things that I was constantly struggling to do was try to figure out a way to get the weight off, just so I could get to the point where I could just maintain again. And it was a constant struggle, and I ended up trying really dramatic things. When my son Isaac was about a year old, I used to put him in a baby Bjorn and then go for walks, and I just started walking more and more and more, which gave my wife a chance to be at home by herself and do some yoga and that kind of thing. And I reached the point where I was walking 7 miles a day and watching what I was eating, and I got down to about I think 186 was kind of the lowest I got. And then it just wasn't maintainable. Isaac got to be too old to carry, and wasn't going to go in a stroller, and certainly couldn't walk with me, and so that just kind of fell apart. And what I found was, as we struggled to kind of get our business off the ground, was that I was frequently working like 14 or 16 hours a day, and I had like no personal time to take care of myself. And so this was kind of a lifelong struggle. I mean, not lifelong, but in the last several years. At one point, I went raw vegan and did a lot of kung fu, and I got back down to about 203 after gaining all the weight back that I'd lost walking. And I just couldn't sustain it. There was just too much stuff going on. So when Jeff LaMarche actually started reporting that he had gotten a treadmill desk, I thought that was interesting. I also thought it would just be an absolutely humiliating thing to do. I just had this picture of being huge and fat and sweatpants and a big sweatshirt, just kind of gasping for air, working at some treadmill like some really pathetic person. And so I was kind of intrigued by what he was doing, but I just personally felt kind of humiliated that that was something I was going to have to do. But Jeff kept at it and starting to have some really good results. And so I talked to him about it and talked to him about what it was like. And it sounded pretty interesting. And then kind of talked to some people at work about it. So I also felt like it was going to be something that was going to be really awkward. And most of the people at work were really very supportive of it. Some people really encouraged me to do it because I'm the CEO and they want me to be healthy. I went and talked to my wife about it at some point, and again, I was just embarrassed and humiliated that this was something I was going to need to do. And it turned out that she was really supportive, and she'd actually heard about treadmill desks as well, and was kind of trying to figure out how to broach the subject with me. So we kind of sat on it for a little while, and then when the opportunity presented itself, I ordered what's called a sit-to-stand signature treadmill desk, which is an adjustable desk that can move up and down and has a treadmill along with it. And I started using it, and actually I really enjoyed it. I was very surprised by that. But I started to learn some things while I was doing this, because I'm the kind of person who likes to kind of read up on what I'm doing. And there have been some posts about, your desk job is killing you, and that kind of thing. And I started looking into it, and actually before the desk arrived, I was kind of interested in standing because I have like really chronic shoulder and back problems, and my chiropractor had told me that a lot of it was related to working at a computer. Some of that is just because you're hunched over, working at your desk, and so all of this stuff tends to get pulled in, and everything in the back tends to get really stretched out. Using a mouse, I did notice actually that as I kind of got more and more involved in computers, that I started to have chronic shoulder problems here, and I think that is from floating this shoulder to use the mouse. So there were things that I did while I was working at a desk to try and deal with that. I got a hog balance chair, which is a kneelie chair that you kneel on, so kind of is intended to encourage you to have better posture. I started using a trackball, so I didn't have to pick up the mouse and move it around, and those things helped for a while, but I was really reaching the point, particularly as I've been focusing on our own product group, that I was working a lot and doing really, really hard work, and I was in complete agony. So while I was waiting for the treadmill desk to show up, I decided that I would, at the very least, pile a bunch of stuff on my desk so I could raise the monitor up and raise my my keyboard and trackpad up. So I'm using a trackpad now. And I started standing, and I noticed that I felt a lot better. And I was very interested in that. And I also started wondering how much, what the difference in calorie expenditure was if you're standing versus sitting. So I did a little research on that, and it turns out that depending on your weight, you can burn 50 calories an hour more while you're standing. And that was a big revelation to me. I mean, it makes sense, but that really adds up. And in an 8-hour day, that can be up to 400 calories a day that you're not burning when you're sitting at a desk. And if you work as much as I do, it can be more like 600 calories or 700 calories a day that you're not burning. And I started thinking about the difference in my lifestyle now compared to when I was a cook. And I realized that, like, right off the bat, there's a 400 calorie a day expenditure that I wasn't getting standing, and that I wasn't getting when I was sitting. And between that and running, I was probably looking at having like about almost 1,000 calories a day that I'd been burning as a part of my routine when I was a cook and I was running, that I wasn't doing anymore. And that was really, really insightful. And I started to realize that sitting at a desk is terrible for you, because if you spend the whole day sitting at a desk, you are, like, let's assume that standing is kind of like the baseline. That's like where you want to be. Then if you're sitting at a desk all day, you already have to do like a 400 calorie workout just to make up what you missed while you were working. And then if you're trying to lose weight on top of that, then you have to do even more work. So if you're talking about like wanting to lose a pound a week, you need to do 500 calories above that. So you're looking at like a 900 calorie workout. And if you're working a lot, then it's even more of a downward spiral, because you've got 700 calories you have to do just to break even for like what you've lost sitting at a desk, then another 500 on top of that. So now you got a 1,200 calorie a day workout, and your day is full because you're working around the clock, and then you've got a family at home. So it just feeds back on itself and just completely implodes. So that was eye-opening. So the first thing that I did was I said, okay, anybody who wants a standing desk at our company, we'll buy one for. And then the treadmill desk showed up, and in practice it was really different than I expected, because I can routinely walk 10 miles a day while I'm coding, and I can do that very productively. And the thing that's really cool about that is it's a game changer, in the sense that it takes one of the most sedentary lifestyles that you can have, or sedentary career paths you can have, and actually turns it into a very active activity. And as a time management thing, it's phenomenal, because I can burn 1,200 calories a day easy just walking at this treadmill desk, just doing my work. And then if I have an hour outside of that for myself, I can spend it doing other things. Like I can spend it lifting weights, I can spend it doing kung fu, and that's what I'm doing. Actually, I'm splitting my time between doing kung fu and doing something musical, either playing drums or playing keyboards or playing guitar. And so suddenly I've met my calorie needs for the day. I'm losing weight. I've lost almost 25 pounds since I started this 2 months ago. And the other time that I have isn't spent just trying to catch up. I can actually spend it doing other things, because my baseline calorie expenditure has been met. And it's hugely liberating. And I just wanted to say that, one, if you're struggling with your weight and you sit at a desk, you might want to see if you can get a standing desk. An adjustable standing desk is probably the best thing to do, so that when you need to sit down, you can. If you can get a treadmill desk and you're struggling with weight, you should totally do it, because you can be very productive, and you can. It makes your coding like physically active, and it's priceless. And I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, and I had a moment, and I just wanted to kind of get this out for people to hear. I'll probably write about this more in the future, but this has really changed things, and I'm very excited because this is a totally sustainable lifestyle change. I was 75 pounds overweight. My target weight ideally is about 155 pounds, and I feel incredibly hopeful because unlike the raw vegan diet and everything else where I've been doing these massive things to try and compensate for the fact that my work life situation put me at such an incredible caloric disadvantage. This is sustainable. I just go to work and that's healthy, and then I've got time outside of that to kind of do whatever else I want to do or just spend it with my family. So if you're thinking about it, I strongly encourage getting a treadmill desk or at least a standing desk. That's it. Thank you.